Welcome, everybody, to the final post-game show of the year. Timberwolves lose to the Memphis Grizzlies in Game 6 at home, are eliminated from the playoffs, and now we have an off-season of conversations to look forward to. I'm Cameron. This is Ashwin. If you're new here, we've done this after nearly every Timberwolves game this year. So that is something, if you are new, check it out next year. We will be having some content in the off season as well. But also, if you're watching right now, leave a like if you enjoyed most of the Timberwolves season. Anyways, we'll kind of get into it. We're going to have a video more on our full-on season kind of recap at some point. Tonight, we certainly will recap some things. It'll just happen naturally, but we will more so be focused on this game and the immediate kind of conversation. So let's jump right into it. Timberwolves played this game similarly to how we did every other game this year. Built a lead and lost it in the fourth. Well, I was at the game. You were at home. How did it feel at home?
Oh, it was a fun, tense environment to be a part of. I think I'm going to stay relatively neutral, if not positive, throughout the broadcast tonight. I think my heart left the arena in Game 5. The way that we lost that game felt way more embarrassing and lethal towards our postseason progression than tonight. Tonight felt like it was inevitable.
Yes. That's how I felt. I was going to be pleasantly surprised if we won this game. Also, if we had won this game, I was going to be pretty confident going into a Game 7. Just because we have our backs against the wall, and they've given us a lot of time to kind of re-game plan against the things that we have failed on. Really, Memphis did not play a good series against us. And we played better than we had most of the season, but we still had our crucial mistakes in crucial moments. I'm kind of with you. I was pretty positive after the last one, but I was in the same mindset as you, where it was kind of like it's over. Can you hear that squeaking like crazy?
It's okay. I thought it was on my end for some reason, so I started closing tabs.
It's my dog.
It's got to be my dog tab.
Yes. We had the same spirit, I think. Just different moods maybe, because when we lost Game 5, I was kind of like, it's over. We had to win that. If we stole that game, we win the series. And instead, now we have to go. And, I know our new talking point has been, really, we've won 3 of the 4 games or whatever, 4 of the 5. Yeah. It's like, well, that's fantastic. But, however, that's a good talking point going into next season. But for right now, I'm like, I don't care. We just lost. I don't care if you said we should have won, because it's the playoffs. Regular season, you can kind of do a little bit like that, where if you have a bad streak, it's like, we lost 3 out of 4, but really we played well in 3 out of the 4. That's something you can maybe build on for game planning ahead. But a playoff series is, if you let the opponent win 4, it's over. So, there's so much to dive into in this game, so much to dive into in the season. I don't really have a super structured game plan other than, Anthony Edwards certainly looks like our number 1 going forward. And I certainly hope it's that way. I know he didn't necessarily have the greatest of efficient nights, but he's 20 and he's doing these kind of things in the playoffs, hitting big shots, playing pretty good defense, and getting to the line too. Actually, he did get to the line a little bit today. So, how do you think looking into next season? I know this is an off-season conversation, but did you like Ant tonight? Did you not like Ant tonight? Did you think that D'Lo should be the new leader of the team?
Oh, clearly. We lost. D'Lo wasn't in, that's why, right?
Yeah.
Let's point to 5 examples this season where he showed up for a game. D'Lo was not it tonight, or maybe at all. However, the numbers go in favor of him. The numbers speak volumes when he's the way he is on the court. This was a terrible game from D'Lo, straight up, and we had to force feed him in the third quarter just to get him going, and it never actually materialized. The first half was really, really interesting, and it was just like the rhythm wasn't completely there, but we found ourselves in the game in the second quarter kind of building, swelling a lead that we inevitably lost a little bit, but then we built back up in the third quarter. How exciting. We're up by 10, 11. Oh my God, are we going to do it again? Are we going to cave and under pressure, or are we going to call timeouts appropriately? Are we going to, play outstanding D at the right times on the right players? And we did for the most part. It was a lot of the 50-50 balls that they just found themselves in and got. And got those lucky shots by Tyus Jones and Brooks and all that stuff. It was crazy. I want to say just quick shout out to everyone in this community, everyone, T-Wolves fans, D'Lo stands, I don't fucking care. Jarrett Culver, forevers. It doesn't matter. It's been fun. This was a fun series, a fun season. I can't wait to talk about the aftermath of what's going to happen here, because I think the offseason is going to be guaranteed the most exciting or the most gut-wrenching, right? If we do nothing, if we stand pat, it'll be very frustrating. If we bolster our roster as currently constructed, this season was fun. Can't wait for next season. This season and this game kind of gave us a taste, a scrumptious taste of what second-year players Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels can do.
Yeah,
when the fucking season's on the line too.
It's sorry, I took a sip of the water. Wrong time. Ant and Jaden tonight. I mean, looking at their scores, it's just insane. I knew Jaden was doing well, but I didn't realize that until he had 20. Until he had 20, it was like, oh my gosh, that's 20 points. That's crazy.
Yeah, for the most part, they had 90% of our offense in the first half.
Yeah, it was crazy. He had 3 threes in a row, and then he late game dunked on Jaren Jackson and talked shit to him. Oh my gosh, I was like hyped. That was actually, I stayed pretty calm at the game. I won't lie. I was pretty calm just because I kind of had accepted the fate of the team. I knew that if unless we blew out, went to a 20+ point lead, even then, obviously, we know we're not safe. But I was like, maybe. I think if we do it in this game, they may be like, you know what, fine, we'll win in Memphis, kind of a deal. But they just were close enough the entire game, seventh quarter. In the fourth quarter, they quickly brought it down from a 10-point game to a 4-point game. And then the 4-point game was them up by 2, and it was just like, okay, yep, this is it.
Yep. So I think the turning point of the game is when Greg Monroe subbed in the third quarter and the end of the third quarter, and we kind of kept it going. We built the lead, and we stayed that course. And then Cat subbed in at the start of the fourth quarter, and it was bad pass, missed shot, missed 3-point shot by Beasley. However, it was a Konkar steal for a 3, and then what was it, a Tyus 3 or something, and it's boom, 4-point game, 6 points just like that. Yep. And we missed those free throws. Beverly missed a free throw here or there, and it was insane that we had a J-Mac layup and as you tested that McDaniels dunk just to kind of get us back from what we just started with. And it was a weird flow because I've never seen Cat start the fourth quarter. Yeah, I feel like Cat had a little bit of an ego in that very opening seconds of that fourth quarter. Yes. And that pass, man, I saw it a mile away what was going to happen.
Yeah. I was telling Maddie at the game, or when we got home from the game, it's like Towns just decided in the fourth quarter that this was his time to prove the world wrong. And
oh my God,
he just chose wrong. He chucks up a 30-foot 3-point shot in no rhythm, bad passes, just terrible decision making in key moments, solidifying in my mind that he's just not the number one. He's maybe not even number 2.
I don't know what number he is. Yeah. He's wearing number 32, but I don't think he can be a 32nd option. I want him moving forward on our team to be a 3-point specialist. When J-Mac was passing to him in the post, I was like, the first time this season we're seeing an actual center play basketball.
That was weird.
That was so dumb. and it was really exciting to see that. But then we went away from it, and
Mm-hmm.
also not only that, but Cat just like stood in the corner for several possessions on end. It was crazy. He was tired. He was gassed, but like when the life is on the line, you have to play your hardest. And I guess we saw exactly what it was. He took a 30-foot shot with 2.5 minutes left. Like, I want to be so mad, but I kind of fucking expected it.
Yeah, I think we both expected it. And I think, Finch kind of said something interesting in his post or his some kind of interview today. I don't know, practice or something like that.
Sure.
Or maybe that was yesterday. I can't remember exactly. But he was saying something along the lines of, what was it? He said, like, the playoffs, they expose you. They expose you for the things, so you have to adjust on the fly. And, I'm glad that these playoffs happened because now, and I'm sure like the people that have been kind of hard on us for our opinions on Towns this year will be like, wow, you're probably relishing in this moment. No, but like at the same time, it needed to happen. He needed to be exposed so that we can move in a different direction, or he can, I don't expect this, but maybe correct something of these mistakes that he's making. But it's just good. At the end of the day, this season was a fun season. We got to see a lot of good basketball. We also, if you, go back to the show that we did after our 13th game when we were 4-9. We were 4-9, and it was like, wow, we might not be Timberwolves fans. Yeah, like I don't care. I just don't care anymore. And it doesn't matter the amount of talent because Ant, I believe at the time looked pretty good, but it was still like there's nothing. There's nothing. We have no hope, and we somehow came back, pulled out a 7 seed, beat the Clippers in a play-in game with Paul George, in a fun game. That game alone was worth this season for me. That was just so fun, not only to be at, but just to be a Timberwolves fan for, just to have a game where, you win a game that's so meaningful. I think that was big. And then
the 2-game stretch.
Yeah.
Game of Memphis too was an incredible feeling.
It was.
And the confidence that we earned and like pushed on Memphis in that first game. Like, we're here to steal the series. We're not just a 7 seed. We were supposed to lose. Yeah. And it felt like we won this series several times. So, they were on the ropes, and good luck in Golden State. Good luck trying not to get swept.
Yeah, if Golden State plays like they did against Denver, the West and the league is going to have to be a little careful. But
sure.
But yeah. So, anyways, Memphis wins. We're gonna drink away the pain now. Twice as hard in the morning. Yeah. I think it'll be. I'm very excited for this offseason. You guys heard me a million times say how excited I was for the offseason, even during this series, when I was still hoping that we would move on. I'm very excited to get into these offseason conversations. Obviously, D'Angelo Russell's going to be a big name coming up in the offseason for us. I would doubt Karl Anthony Towns would be, but I guess you never know. But D'Angelo Russell will certainly be one. And how we kind of fix our issues, because we've got quite a few issues, obviously. But I'm a little scared that we will lean towards a little bit of what you were kind of talking about earlier about maybe not doing anything, maybe not doing a single thing. Maybe bringing back Taurean Prince. Sounds like he wants to come back, which was cool to hear. I kind of think, I'd be interested in bringing Greg Monroe back. I don't know how that worked, but
I don't know how he feels.
Yeah, I don't know how he feels.
Yeah,
but we won't see Jake. I saw Jake Layman for the last time tonight. Yeah, well, it'll be interesting conversations. But any last takes before we get into the tier list?
Yeah, my take is I'm going to read Worldwide Wob's thread of the last 3.5 minutes of this game, starting with the unsolicited Cat running skyhook from 20 feet with nobody under the rim for the rebound. He then says, Wolves take foul. That's Beverly fouling. Ja Morant in the bonus with 3 minutes left, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just put Greg Monroe into the game with the season on line. Cat launches a contested three with not a single teammate standing inside the three-point line to rebound. Entire team bird watching. JJJ gets an easy rebound, which leads to a Brooks dagger three. And contested three with not a single teammate standing inside the three-point line to rebound. Cat flagrant foul that was so obvious the refs watched one angle before ruling it so.
Yeah,
Greg Monroe is at the scores table again for some reason. Finch's ATO results in a Cat contested long two with nobody rebounding. Bane 3 on the other end. Ant airball against the entire Grizzlies defense. 4 Wolves standing under the rim. Bird watching leads to a 3 Grizzlies looks. Eventually one of them being the Ja Morant layup. Cat shot a contested 3 from about 35 feet with 15 seconds left on the shot clock. Mclaughlin doubles Ja for no reason, leaving Tyus Jones wide open for a dagger 3 with a minute left. The final was 114 to 106. We were up significantly. All we need to do is run a play. All we need to do is feed the hot hand. You know who the hot hand was? Jaden McDaniels. Jordan Mclaughlin should have controlled that game, and it was Ant and Cat trying to play hero ball. Finch has called it out several times this series. This team has a problem with their mentality, and it's all the stray voltage led into the final 4 or 5 minutes where we saw nothing but hero ball, and that's what did us in. We don't know how to close games. It's heroics. It's like acrobatic shots. It's like we got to try to make the home run play when we're playing basketball. Everyone, it's just 2 points. It's crazy how little calls here and there flip a series, but we show that we could have won this, and it's pretty positive. It's like kind of like a nice, like refreshing take to just be like, we were in it. We were never folding, and we stayed kind of true to who we are, which was schizophrenic, young, mindless basketball.
Yeah, definitely mindless. And all the criticisms, even though obviously we know Chuck and Shaq and all of them, they don't watch Timberwolves games, but that doesn't mean they can't be right. And we are dumb as rocks. We put that on display by Ashwin narrating the Worldwide Wob, Rob Perez. Fanfic, yep. Yeah, I think Kobe, you've been here this whole series. Shout out to Ant-Man, love that guy, but y'all gotta get that soft center away from him. He's gonna stunt his growth. I disagree with the wording, well, kind of, but I agree with your point. I do. At least how it is right now, like we were saying earlier, we just can't have Cash is not a number one. He's just not. I'd rather, like you said, have him be a 3-point specialist. We're on the same page about this. I don't know if that means putting him in power forward position. I don't know what that means, but he needs to be 3-point, and we need an actual center who can bang down low. But yeah. Also, shout out the mini legend Stones Jones. Yeah, he killed us. Fans were booing Tyus tonight.
Well, also booing Cat.
They were booing Cat at the end of the game. They really were. They announced him coming back.
MVP chance for Ant, an MVP chance for Jordan Mclaughlin, but not for Cat on the line. Not for Cat on the line.
I will. Yeah, no, actually. So funny enough, you say that. Everybody but Cat was getting MVP shots tonight. At the beginning of the series, it was totally different. It was Cat every time. Now, not at all. But that's the beauty of the playoffs. You get exposed, and now you either have to fix it or change it. And we have to do that. And if we don't, we'll see. But
well, fucking said.
All right. Well, I think it's probably time to do the last tier list of the last post-game tier list. We're still going to do, I still have a homework assignment that I've given myself that I want to look at every single one that we did and see how many each person got. I don't think it'll actually take that long, but it will take time. It will take some effort, but if you're new here, this is what we do after every show. If you're watching the VOD afterwards, we do this after the show. You can vote live in our Discord. Shout out our Discord. By the way, if you haven't liked the video already, like the video. But we're gonna grade just these players tonight. There were a couple others that played. Monroe did play a little bit, and I didn't necessarily hate Monroe's minutes. But this is just the thing, you can't. I know I think Nas was out for personal reasons tonight. Is that correct?
Yeah, he was.
I didn't hear anything other than he was out.
So, like, you heard that he was out, but when Greg
Yeah.
Monroe first came in, like, were you just completely just dumbfounded? Like,
I
how
was.
the hell this happened?
I knew that Nas was questionable, but I hadn't heard that he was fully out. And then I didn't even see Monroe come into the game. And then I look down and I see 55, and I'm like, 55? And I'm like, oh my gosh. Moose.
And he was awesome.
He was.
He was awesome. And that was my feeling. Like, in the fourth quarter, I just wanted a bruiser. I just wanted someone down there to, like, 3 minutes, because Cat played the whole fourth quarter. Cat's going to run out of gas when we need him the most. I knew it. I knew what was going to happen. So I was really mad when we didn't extend his playing time in the fourth quarter. Let's go. So Greg Monroe, right? Like,
we can do Greg Monroe. I still, unfortunately, do not have his picture, so it's Ed Davis. Ed Davis.
Let's go.
4 points, 2 rebounds and assists, 2 steals, 2 of 5 shooting, only 1 foul, 1 turnover. But man, he played pretty good. Honestly, for coming off the bench cold like that, not even playing, I don't even know. Did he play at all in the series other than that game?
I came in for 6 seconds in a random possession just to get the rebound.
That's right. I'd say this is pretty good. I mean, better than I'd probably expect in 7 minutes. So maybe I'll give him a B.
A B.
Yeah.
Yeah, a B is fine. What was amazing is that his hands were in the passing lanes, 2 steals, 2 rebounds, especially one being offensive, which was a putback for him. That's awesome, man. Like, that's what we need out of our backup center. That's like prototypical backup bigs that could be bigger than their role in playoff and postseason play. Like, we just look at Brandon Clark as a prototypical example of, they run fast, they run, transition plays, throughout the entire season. But, like, when it gets to the grit and grind and a very stale, stalling, half court, pace, offensive rebounding is key. And we didn't have that. They did. To have one from Greg Monroe is pretty cool, though, I guess.
Yeah. No, I love it. And yes, everybody, we know it's Ed Davis. But
is Ed Davis going to be the top of our tier list to end the season?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Next up, let's do Beasley. Beasley, what a disappointing finish to the season for Beasley. 2 points, 2 rebounds, and assist. 1 of 4 shooting, 0 of 3 on threes. The only thing he's supposed to really do for us. Played a little bit of defense, but really meh. Honestly, if I had to give a quick grade to Beasley tonight, man, maybe a D. Maybe that's nice. A D. You have any thoughts? I know you're responding to somebody, but
I'm sorry. Yeah, who?
Beasley.
Yeah, I wish he was given more opportunities to shoot this entire series. It just felt like with Beasley out there, his role was actually to rebound and to play defense, and that wasn't cool except for game 1. Like, that was such a great storyline of game 1, the Beasley punch, and the ripple effect that causes, like, when they don't game plan for our bench players. So our bench was 1 player for the most part, or 2 players for the most part, and that was a weapon for sure. But I want Beasley to be a part of that equation.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe a C, maybe a D. I don't care.
Yeah, it seems like he just needs to. I understand that he's probably a little bit more of an effective, maybe regular season player where you get more fast breaks and can take quick threes like that. But like, it seems like there shouldn't be a reason that we can't get him open. And, kind of like Ice God actually is saying in the chat right now, having Cat play like a guard hurts these other players.
He's not wrong on that.
Yeah, that's a very valid point, which is why I'd kind of rather have him be not the ball handler, not the 1, not the 2. I want him to be the 3 or the 4. No, maybe not the 4, 3. But
I want him to be a post-up player or a spot-up shooter from 3. Like,
yeah,
let's make that the only role for Cat moving forward.
Yeah. But yeah. Just gonna get washed by the Warriors anyways. So y'all off season. Enjoy y'all off season. Okay, cool. But anyways, next up, Jordan Mclaughlin, 9 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal, 4 or 5 shooting. The only shot, really the only bad thing I can remember him doing was that random 3 where he like pulled up on a screen and just was like, I'm just taking it. and it was like, oh, okay. That was weird. But other than that, a pretty good Jordan Mclaughlin game.
Oh yeah, it was fantastic. The only problem is late in game situations, like he's just a little bit smaller than Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones can get a shot off against him. D'Lo could have been a taller presence, but I don't think D'Lo would have matched his speed. D'Lo would have been on Bane. Beverly would have been on Tyus. It's just a little bit different of matchups. So who knows what would have happened. I'm so happy that J-Mac got the time tonight because holy fuck, one of the top 3 players of the night on our team for sure. Yeah. He was incredible. He was pushing the pace where D'Lo couldn't because he's slow-footed. He was getting Cat to where we ultimately want Cat to be 100% of the time, and getting Cat to the line as well by giving him opportunities to get to the line without fouling, running transition. It's incredible to see what just a stable point guard who's like not dumb as rocks does with the ball in his hands. I don't even know if he had turnover or not. If it wasn't even self-inflicted. That 3 was with like 6 seconds left on the shot clock. He had an opening because Cat was like kind of screening for him, and I think Ja went under and around. And maybe it was a bad look.
It's just not his shot. Like it's just not something I ever see from him. Yeah. But like, sure, maybe it's the correct play, but it was just like so like, oh, this is, I guess J-Mac's doing this.
Yeah. No, and 100%, you're right. It's just J-Mac shoots when the ball gets given to him, Yeah. And actually, J-Mac was really good throughout the season, but definitely when D'Lo was paired with him. So when D'Lo and J-Mac were together, it felt like a good fit. D'Lo becomes a secondary ball handler, and then I think that's kind of where D'Lo actually shines. Anywho, A, if not A1 for J-Mac.
I know I'm high on J-Mac. I think it's probably an A.
I hope we figure out a way to keep him long term. I don't know. I'm so sorry that we were out on you early in the season. It's just because we didn't know what the fuck we were. We needed someone to blame. That's really what it was.
And it, to our credits, not that we need any, but like he looked like ass. He just he was not looking like the J-Mac that we had seen the year previous. And then at the end of the year, we have seen a little bit more of that, if not even better than the last year. So it's really been kind of all over the place, but hey, great game by J-Mac. Speaking of Max, Big Mac, Jaden McDaniels, probably one of the biggest nights of his career. 24 points, only 4 rebounds. Did have a block. Honestly, he probably should have been credited with a couple other blocks, but he had a block. 8 of 9 shooting, 5 of 6 from 3, 3 of 4 from the line, and 1 personal foul. This is just
one offensive rebound. That was sick.
Yeah, that rebound was sick. Just the craziest stat line from Jaden. Also, not to mention, we said it earlier, but a poster dunk on Jaren Jackson Jr. where he talked and flexed on JJJ. That was the highlight of the night for me by far. That was incredible.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, thoughts on J-Mac or Big Mac?
No, I'll never forget this game from him because we were kind of going to lose this game. We lost this game, but we were going to lose this game in the first quarter alone. Yeah. We had no offensive rhythm. If it wasn't Ant, we had D'Lo wasn't anywhere. Cat had a play or two, and then he was doing Cat things, and we just didn't have anyone. And so when Vando was kind of being outplayed and out hustled, we put in J-Mac kind of out of necessity, and boom, 3, boom, 3, boom. We're in the game. We're back on top. And while Memphis is actually hitting shots, Bane was incredible. Brooks was incredible in that first half stint. We kind of neutralized Bane's presence with Jaden out there. Ja Morant was fucking nothing, also because of Jaden's impact. Jaden had an incredible defensive game. Maybe even blocks that were not actually recorded as blocks were just, he was there stymieing any penetration. And when, we have a really weird, unique defensive scheme that requires a lot more out of our scrawny little guards. And he's a scrawny little big. So he has an extra, role to play in getting, guarding up and poster in like kind of defending Jaren Jackson Jr. or Xavier Tillman or anyone who drives to the rim, and he played it to perfection. He was awesome, incredible. Our best two players in the night when the season was on the line were our second-year players. And it kind of feels amazing because we kind of saw this like writing on the wall for a while. We are not the biggest Cat fans. I want to say, like, going down the roster, I don't like a lot of the look of this team moving forward long term. The team that I like a lot right now is like the idea of what J-Mac does in the starting lineup, what Ant does as the starting two, how we can build size from just within. And so if Ant is the starting two instead of the starting three, right? If Jaden is the starting three instead of the bench, four, it could look really, really good and very current, very meta. And I would love that idea. The future belongs in these two players' hands tonight. And I wouldn't say a star, but a significant piece moving forward for this franchise arrived tonight.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And I'm just going to interject, and I'm going to say he's an A1 tonight.
A1, for sure. I will never forget this game. This game was so tolerable.
Yeah.
Because of his presence. Without his efforts, I don't know who was taking those shots, first off. He was just in a mind frame to make those plays, to shoot those threes. Because what happened was Beverly was skittish. D'Lo was skittish and would like do the fucking pump fake crap and then not get anything going. Cat wasn't taking or making anything from the perimeter, except for it was 35 feet away, right? Right? It was up to our other little dudes, our young dudes, our unproven guys, to like actually take it upon ourselves and get to double digits in 3-point contest, 3-point attempts even. Very embarrassing stuff from our star players, but from Jaden McDaniels. Now you showed this, now you can't go back.
Yeah. No backsies. No, seriously. I want this version of Jaden, and again, nobody go back to the beginning of the season and look at my takes.
This game actually left a really good taste in my mouth. This sucks that we lost. It sucks that we have to close out the season the way that we did. It would have been awesome to have a Game 7, right? I love Game 7s. But we found a gem. Man, it's incredible to have that.
It is.
Back pocket, man. Let's see what happens with development with 10 pounds of muscle. Who knows?
Yeah, we're gonna. You guys are gonna hear about us getting so jacked when we hear that tweet come out from Dane Moore or
the body.
That's gonna be like, wow, Jaden put on 15 pounds of muscle this offseason, and then he's gonna come back and look exactly the same. But we're still gonna be excited.
For sure.
So I mean, an incredible A1 game from Jaden, and yes, you have to play like this forevermore now. So, all right. Well, we're on to the starters. We'll start with Vanderbilt. And how about we 3-2-1 all of the starters? Not at the same time, but you know what I mean. So Vanderbilt only played 12 minutes tonight. He had up and down series. It really just was depending on the game, the way the wind was blowing. He either got 35 minutes or 10. But anyways, he had 2 points, 4 rebounds, a steal and a block, 1 of 3 shooting, 3 personal fouls, no turnovers. I think I'm ready to grade Vanderbilt. Are you?
In 3, 2, 1. D.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, that was weird because I also gave a
little finger action there.
Action.
I was hesitating on the D and maybe thinking C, just because he didn't have that many minutes. But I think, usually Vanderbilt's minutes are kind of, they're the reason. Like, if they're low, it's because he's not playing well. If they're high, it's because he's playing really well. So you can kind of grade him off of his performance based on his minutes. And I think Finch kind of saw that early, that maybe it wasn't being as effective tonight. And obviously Jaden, you had to play Jaden. So there's a lot of things to it, but overall, obviously not the best Vanderbilt game. We certainly could have used a lot more of those kind of standard Vanderbilt things, rebounding for one. But But yeah, because think of it. You brought in Vanderbilt as your kind of rebound hustle guy. He only had 4, and then Jaden played so well offensively, but he only had 4 rebounds. So you lose some rebounding with Jaden. Not to say that Jaden's not a good rebounder, but Vando's clearly, I would say, the better rebounder, at least currently. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a D. Not really a lot to say about his game since he didn't play very much, but
it's what he didn't do. That's what we should be talking about, and it's I wouldn't say embarrassing. He's come so far this season, so it's like you're expecting games like this when he's not an offensive threat. So he doesn't get his energy from there. He doesn't get his juice from there. He gets his juice from like getting those offensive rebounds, those extra possessions, those strips and whatever. Like he does all the little things. He didn't do a thing tonight. I really wanted him more out there when Brian and Clark was out there, but he was unplayable. It felt like he was getting boxed out by the little dudes, and he couldn't rotate fast enough for like a Bain 3 or Brooks 3. So we had to go smaller. We had to go younger. We had to go quicker with Jaden, and it proved correct. And what's really cool about Finch is that he just plays by feel. He kind of like coaches by feel, but like Vando coming back in wouldn't have actually saved us. It would have forced a different kind of situation. So while Memphis went big with, Jaren Jackson still not, fouling out when he should have like 3 times this game.
Yeah.
They had, Clark and Jaren Jackson out there. We were just so much smaller. We had to gang rebound.
Mm-hmm.
What if Vando was there? But he didn't show up tonight.
Yeah. And this is a random side note, and I'm not going to go off on it because there are plenty of other reasons the Timberwolves lost the series. But another kind of questionable night in a lot of calls. Of course, against the Timberwolves, but that there was really only one game in this series, and it's where all the Memphis fans cried until they got their way. That went Memphis's way. Other than that, it was pretty much all. I do try to pride myself as somebody that is kind of unbiased in these situations. I try to look at foul calls, and I'm not the one that's going to overreact to something that's not a foul. But tonight there was one particular one on Vando. That's what made me think of it, where there was like such minimal contact. It was when Ja started driving. Just like, come on,
Oh my God, it was so bad because he got pushed in the back to play previous too.
Yes, just dumb. Yeah. But anyways, Vando, a D.
Can't wait to talk about in the offseason because he is an exciting energy player for us moving forward. This franchise does rely on that type of hustle. So
definitely. No, yeah. And these are the kind of players that I assume a front office dreams about having. You have a great contract for him, and he's your hustle player. It's definitely a good thing to have. Well, next up, the vet, Pat Bev. So Pat Bev played 37 minutes tonight. 10 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Wow, that's kind of satisfying. 3 of 8 shooting. I didn't even realize he fouled out of the game. 6 personal fouls.
That was at the end there. That take foul on Morant.
I was like, man, that must have been really into the game or really out of the game.
It was at the very end of the game.
Yeah. Okay. Did have 2 turnovers. Was a team low, -16. Kind of felt like it at times, but are you ready to grade Patrick Beverley?
Yeah, I think so.
Me too. 3, 2, 1, C.
B.
Yeah, only reason I say C, I think we're going to be on the same page about a lot of the things we say. This is kind of the game I expect from him. He did hit some clutch threes and big moments. More so like impactful momentum moments that felt good, but he also missed some at key moments. Played pretty good defense. Was able to do one small taunt on Ja before the series was over. And honestly, he's done a really good job on Ja this entire series. This series has really kind of opened my eyes to Ja Morant, just because I feel like I can't tell. I can't tell if it's that we defended him so well that after the first half, he had like 0 points tonight. They put up a graphic at Target Center where the crowd went
16-0.
crazy. Yeah. Yeah, they
It
were
was
showing.
it's so funny to see that.
Yeah, that was insane. They showed Ant up there versus Ja, and the crowd started going crazy. So I thought there was a protester, and then I look up at the screen and I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, yeah. It's just interesting, but I can't tell because like you know he has these fourth quarters where suddenly they start running what is it, horns action or whatever, where they have the two bigs or just two people come over and kind of
Yeah.
screen for him, and then he just is at that point we just never figured it out. You know, he's able to drive then, and every other play in the game, other than in the fourth quarter midway through, we're able to stop most plays, but they don't run that same action. So is it something that they're really just saving for key moments and they're kind of letting the other team beat them? Or,
No.
you know, I feel like maybe it's both, but I do think that not Ja, Pat Bev does a great job on defending him.
Oh yeah, hands down. It was so much what Ja wasn't able to do. Ja is overrated as hell. He gets a lot of calls in the regular season. He looks so dynamic because there's no defense being played whatsoever,
Yeah.
and a lot of transition happens. So he gets to do a lot of things that are just really fun to see on basketball.
Mhm.
When same with fucking Derrick Rose. Like Derrick Rose was hard to play in fourth quarter situations unless he had it going. Efficiency wise, because he couldn't drive to the rim as quick as possible because he would just fall into the floor. No calls are called, and he's out of the play for the next call. It's crazy. Beverly was awesome in his role. He didn't do anything outstanding. There was a couple strips that were really fun. The key moments that were kind of a three that he should have gotten an and one on. I think. A couple that lean into Bane for the and one in transition. That was really fun to see, and like kind of like a clap back at what Memphis does all season. It's the smallest of contacts, and then they exaggerate it. And, that wasn't a foul, but they called it because it's awesome. Like get us, let's have an advantage for once. That's fun to see that.
Yeah.
So much of this identity will ride on Patrick Beverly and how he kind of instilled or deployed or taught Ant. Look how much growth Ant had this season. It's not like a surprise that it was also because Patrick Beverly was, above him, like teaching him, taking him under his wing. Ant guarding Ja Morant at the end of the game. Right?
Yeah.
Ant taking upon himself to lead our team in so many like ideas of like what a star could look like, right? Mm-hmm. Steals, blocks, rebounds. He's doing all these little things on top of scoring 20 in the first half. So it was such a remarkable first half. It was such a fun experience. And I'm talking about all these other players because that's what kind of Beverly does. He instills so much like faith and energy and vigor into other players. And so I saw that tonight. I didn't see that from like D'Lo and a couple other players that we might talk about here in a second. But I love Beverly, man. It's so fun to see him. And 2 for 5, he didn't make a lot of those threes. Well, he's 40% from three generally, so that's what that is. What I wish he did do was drive the way he did in Game 4. I wish he took it to Ja a little bit early in the game again, just to kind of put their defense on tilt. But it seemed like we had a different idea. We wanted to get Cat going pretty early, and it didn't work out. So then we went to straight up Ant. Ant was a hero, but yeah.
Well, I don't think we have it. I don't think we had a tier list, but do you said you're still on B?
Oh yeah.
I can move up to a B. Cool. Well, on to the big three. We're gonna start with D'Angelo Russell. Everybody, children, close your ears. 27 minutes. Yeah, 7 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists, 3 steals, 3 of 7 shooting. Didn't get to the line. 4 turnovers and only 1 personal foul. Are you ready to grade D'Angelo Russell?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I am too. 3, 2, 1. Glenn Taylor.
Oh,
what? Wait, what did you say?
D.
Oh wow. Okay.
Why it's not Glenn Taylor or not Wancho? He was unplayable for sure, but his defense was pretty fucking good tonight.
You're right. He did play some good defense tonight.
I thought the way that he was able to close out on Bane, basically neutralizing him, rendering him scoreless until like a 5-point burst, was pretty key. He's tall. He was kind of in Ja's secondary space when Ja would get past the first line. Pretty good stuff, honestly. But that's not what we pay him $30 million for.
Yeah.
What is he? Ice in his veins, like clutch jeans and shoes? I don't know. Like, he's supposed to do something that no other player on our team can do, and is drive to the paint, get calls, get the rip-throughs, get to the line, make threes, make tough shots.
Yeah.
He did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
He did absolutely nothing on the offensive end. We forced him in the third quarter to get a couple shots going. That was cool to see. Thank God.
Yeah.
Jalen Rose kind of like even said, X factor tonight will be, at halftime, get D'Lo going, and then we'll see what happens. Well, okay.
Yeah.
We tried. And, the very next play, it looked like, D'Lo wanted to just take over the game, and like he forced it to fucking Cat, and it was a turnover. And then it was just like, okay, well, D'Lo's not handling the ball correctly anymore. We put J-Mac in. All of a sudden, we have a fucking smart player pushing pace, driving to the rim, crossing Ja Morant.
Yeah.
D'Lo is too slow for this series, number one.
Yeah.
But he's a better spot-up shooter, secondary shot creator. That's a fact. But decision-making has been always questionable. He's been usually good. But watch this playback, man. Watch this game on playback. D'Lo had no fucking idea what he wanted to do tonight. He was trying to feed Cat because we had these fucking like player-only meetings, and like we were talking openly and vividly, candidly to media about playing hero ball, because that last second shot in Game 5 was miserable. Mm-hmm. Heard around the backboard. Yeah, I think D'Lo is dumpster. Like, when he plays like this, he should not be on our team. He should not be on the floor at all. And it was like 2 or 3 minutes too long for Finch to give him that rope. I thought it was just like a 45-second, 1 minute spell for J-Mac, honestly, because J-Mac was carrying us in that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
We gave up 40 points in that fourth quarter. D'Lo was part of that, man. D'Lo was part of that. We struggled to score. We struggled to have any offensive identity. D'Lo did not help whatsoever. In fact, when D'Lo got in there, we had like a 6-7 point lead. It was erased.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Moving forward,
go ahead.
I'm sorry for like kind of grandstanding here, but moving forward, this offseason is going to be so great because we got off of that Wiggins contract.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's going to, potentially look at D'Lo as maybe a pseudo asset. But more importantly, we are going to have to address this. And we got exposed. We showed our true colors, and we need to get better. And Gupta Trade Machine, ESPN Trade Machine, has to make a move to like say that this is his team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the fuck D'Lo gets in return. Probably not much, but I guarantee you by the trade deadline, he's not on our team anymore. And maybe D'Lo fans will be rejoiced because this team doesn't feel like it fits with D'Lo.
Yeah. My quick analysis, again, we will get in. We're going to have a whole trade. We're going to have a Gupta special. We're going to go through all of this stuff at some point. But my quick little lightning Gupta round is, I think the thing that would make the most sense if you are to deal a D'Angelo Russell is you're probably going to be sending him to a team that's going to be tanking for the year. Because one, he takes up a lot of salary, and two, then you can attach draft picks to him as well. For who knows, maybe a player like Miles Turner, maybe, there's other players out there. I don't, this is the lightning round. I don't have all the names, but there's players out there that could happen with.
Yeah, $30 million expiring contract. That is kind of a ticket for something for someone.
Exactly, especially for a bad team that is looking for kind of a stopgap in the between area. So there's definitely going to be the ability to move that contract. But here, my actual take is that I think the Timberwolves are going to this offseason, other than maybe tiny moves where they're like filling roster spots because of Jake Layman, Josh Okogie, and there's another player I think we're missing Torian. See if Torian comes back. Yeah. I think this team's going to stay the same. I think this team go into the next season with the same exact starting roster, and we're going to see if we can, improve and get better. And if D'Lo can be better consistently, if Towns can be better or in a different role, and if Ant can really be taking over and not be thwarted by new scouting that now every team has that we were in the playoffs. So that's kind of my thing is we're going to come back in the next season, re-roll. And if it's not working, though, by the trade deadline, I think that was kind of your key point there was by the deadline, if we're Timberwolvesing again, where we're doing what we've done for 19 of the last 20 years, then I think he's gone.
D'Lo averaged 12 points on 33% shooting this series. I guess after scoring 31 points a game through the regular season, which had Memphis on skates, man. They were like, I'm so afraid of D'Lo. I'm so afraid of D'Lo. Like, we know D'Lo is going to not show up in this series, have maybe 6 or 7 cool passes, and maybe get like a, rip through here or there and like a cool, late game 3 or something once.
Yeah.
This was a very, very important series for D'Lo. It was a fun rebound season for him to save, not save his career, but show the NBA that he still kind of exists and is relevant. He showed up for maybe 20 games this season, so this will be a very, very important D'Lo offseason. My favorite part about D'Lo was his composure, his where everyone was off the rails and batshit crazy. He was not. He was even keeled, and his hand was still. I liked his mentality and his I feel like his camaraderie with Ant and Beasley and Jaden were real and authentic.
Yeah. Yep.
He feels real. He feels like a real person.
Yeah.
Whereas Cat, we'll get to him in a second, I don't feel like he has a relationship with the team. I really don't think so. I'm kind of actually okay with the idea of D'Lo staying on this team next season, but it needs it needs some some fine tuning at to the nth degree, I guess.
Yeah. We've talked about it a little bit, but the Timberwolves only worked on defense last offseason. They didn't work on offense at all. And when we came out in the season, at the very, very beginning, especially the first few games, our defense looked like something Timberwolves fans have not seen maybe ever. It was really incredible. And it was something that legitimately, when you were watching the team, was like, holy cow, this could be our year because it was so good. And if we can come out with an even dosage of offense and defense and rested legs, I'm, as much as I wanted to see another series, I'm so glad that Ant gets to just rest now. Rest those knees, get them as good as possible because we're going to need them next year. But yeah, I think D'Lo we should expect to see him on the starting roster next year. I know Gerald's not liking that right now, but I think it's highly likely. Unless there is a deal that you just cannot turn down. But we'll see. Godfrey, before we get to a final grade here, Godfrey says Memphis did not play that well. Wolves could have won the series. D'Lo did not contribute much. Not wrong. So I said Glenn Taylor, which maybe was a little harsh just because crazy. I was actually harsher on D'Lo than Godfrey was, so I kind of had to check myself there for a second.
And I said D, so let's do happy in between.
And
Hernan Gomez for you.
Godfrey, you get it. D'Lo is Wancho on the last game of the season. There we go. You knew all along.
Silent golf claps.
Yeah.
Small violin for D'Lo. Yeah, pretty embarrassing overall. 30 whatever fucking million for whatever that was.
Yeah, that's bad. All right. Well, next up, we got the 2 players of the night. Not 2 players of the night. Just kidding. Take that back. Karl-Anthony Towns.
That played tonight.
Yeah, 2 players played tonight. Both of them played over 40 minutes. So we'll start with Towns. So Towns, 40 minutes, 18 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. He was 6 of 19 shooting, 0 of 3 from 3 for the 3-point champion. Did get to the line a little bit, 6 and 9. Nice. And 4 personal fouls, which actually 2 came in the 4th. So he was actually pretty good on the fouls. But and only 2 turnovers. I was certain he was going to be over on the turnovers.
I'm ready for a grade. I'm ready to get this over with.
I'm ready for a grade too. Okay. 3, 2, 1, Wancho.
One show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my god, victory lap. Oh, dude.
I almost went Glenn Taylor
I almost went Glenn Taylor.
just because this is some, the official grading scale. Wancho is you took away from the team that night. Glenn Taylor is you always take away from the team or do things that you always do to take away from the team.
Yeah.
He kind of did a lot of those things, but they were in different ways tonight. We had that 35-foot three that he attempted in.
That's actually a turnover, but it doesn't record it as one.
Yeah. That's clutch time, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna heave up a three that I've never taken. This is a record-breaking distance three for me. I'm gonna prove the world that they're wrong about me. And then just clanks it, and just like the weirdest. Like my angle was weird, but it was like a running hook shot layup thing that just like clanked off the backboard, like just like terrible decision making.
I think got fade away too.
Yeah, there was a couple drives tonight where he was able to drive on open lanes and dunk, which was certainly fun, I guess. But like realistically, other than that, like that's two dunks right there. That's 4 points. He went to the line 9 times, got 6 of them. So there's 10. So then he had 8 other points really that were actual real buckets.
And 4 of them were probably assisted by J-Mac.
Yeah. Just like, I mean, it's crazy. And then, it was just such a weird game from him because we saw like you were mentioning earlier where he was getting into the post and we were actually like tossing it into the post and there was nobody behind him and he was just able to like lay it in. It was just the strangest game. Emotionally kind of a game that we could expect from Towns where he just is making decisions based off of legacy. He is making legacy selfish decisions where he is trying to prove himself as a certain type of player. And it cost the Timberwolves the game.
What did he say? Some fucking post-game interview where the playoffs are where people get to be great and I want to be great.
Yeah.
Well, here you are taking over the game, shooting us, brand new shot attempts, shots that you've never taken in the history of in your career. The running skyhook and the 30-footer that you've never made either of them. You've never made those shots in your career. It's not necessarily the time to do so. Maybe in the offseason you can like add to your fucking tool bag. I do got to say that tool bag needs to come the fuck off, and you need 3 plays. You need 3 moves. That's it. Your offseason is going to be the most important, and I know what's going to happen. He's going to take the fucking summer off. He's going to think it's not him.
Yeah.
And someone said, and it's been I've been kind of feeling it, like maybe this is true. He doesn't take over in games typically because he wants it not to be on him.
Huh.
He actually doesn't want it to be on him. And then he can point to the reasons why he wants to get out of Minnesota. Because for some reason, because we're paying him all this fucking money for reasons I don't know. I thought he was the worst starter of all of them tonight. Yeah. I think he was worse than D'Lo. The fact that he was out there was probably the only thing that was a positive, I feel, and I feel hurt saying that. I'm in a really good mood right now, and it's not because of like bagging on Towns, man. I hate it. It's like my least favorite thing when I do when I get to, and I don't get paid to do so, right? So like, why am I really getting so emotional about this fucking player? He's not it, man.
Yeah.
In college, he looked like the product, the next. His rookie year, he looked like, oh, this is a franchise levitating player. This guy will be perennial all-star, all-NBA bullshit. Bullshit is actually what it is. He's a tease. He's a good stats team. Good stats on a bad team kind of player. He will get his. He wants the light on him. He wants the attention on him. I hate it so much. And when the lights were brightest, he was the worst performer on the court tonight. 6 for 19, we've never seen that. I will give him all whatever the fuck he says, flowers. He says flowers. Give me the flowers. We'll give him the flowers for what he did this season. He was actually incredible for a lot of the season.
He was, yeah.
And shut us up, man. He shut us up.
He really did.
The 60-point game is going to go on his record as like, what a fucking feat, man. That was insane.
He's got big feet.
But man, 10 toes down. I feel like my conversation has gone astray. A little bit of voltage in my conversation about Towns. I think 6'4", is what Wiggins would do.
Yeah, that's a Wiggins
And
style.
what would Wiggins do? He would shoot. He would chuck. He would take those stupid shots, fadeaways. He would go into his dumb bag and pull out the worst shots. I feel like seventh year Karl Anthony Towns should have been a little bit more cerebral, a little bit more composed. You don't just jump up and down like a fucking 2-year-old after a call that doesn't get made, and then you're out of the play. So then Ja gets to the line.
Yep.
It's just so careless. It's so worthless to see you on the court doing this shit. What was really funny is that I feel like he kind of got away with a couple calls. The calls were going his way.
They were actually, yeah. Yeah.
Well, we've expected greatness out of him, and he was less than. And as a result, I want to stop talking about him. Wancho to Glenn Taylor for sure.
Yeah, I think it's probably Wancho. Just like you're right though. There were multiple games this year, or not multiple games. There were multiple months of the season where he shut us up, and it was in the middle of the season. You know, the beginning of the season started. And I think lots of people probably did not like us very much and were very adamant in telling us that at times because of like the opinions that we had on Towns. But then we got into like 3 months, I think, into the season or so. We got into like January, February, and Towns was dominating. And I don't even say that lightly. Like he was actually dominating. He was winning games for us, making winning plays. Sure, he still had like mistakes, but that was kind of that moment where he stopped complaining about fouls. I'm not saying that stopping about the complaining suddenly makes you a better player to the point where you're winning games for the team. But it changed a mindset, or it flipped some switch in him to make him just be a better player. And then that kind of tailed off near the end of the season when games started to really matter. Yeah. I'm sick of hearing the words from him, like you said, where it's like, you know, oh, we're in the playoffs now, and now like the big boys come out or whatever, you know, and it's like, yeah, well, where are you? You know, where are you? Because you're selling yourself as the franchise player, and you know, you just can't have a playoff series like this. If you are going to sell yourself as that, and I mean, lots of Towns fans and I'm sure all of Towns' inner circle believes that he's a top 10 player in the league, and I certainly hope that he realizes that he's not. And I certainly hope that exactly what you said, which I'm a little scared of, is that he just takes this offseason off and is like, yeah, I'm good. I'm waiting for everybody else to catch up to me. Because that certainly could happen.
Yeah, it's a cultural separation point of emphasis here. You show up to training camp late. You don't play you don't play with your team until it starts to the training camp is over. You don't play in the preseason. You kind of bag it when you need to. You take those several possessions off throughout the entire season of just like you're on the ground, you're behind the play. We don't get any actual rhythm with you on the court. I still don't know what Timberwolves basketball is.
Yeah.
We played an entire season, plus we almost got to 52 wins.
Oh, we did.
We almost did. We got to 49. It was quite a high, not quite 50, but I don't know what Timberwolves basketball is. I do know what it is when J-Mac, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels is out there. I know where we're doing what we're doing.
Yep.
Not only is it predictable, it's efficient. Not only is it efficient, it feels good.
Yeah.
It feels organic. When D'Lo makes those fucking fadeaways, it's like, no. Oh, you made it? That's why.
Yeah,
that's awesome. But when Cat makes those crazy shots, holy fuck, it's exciting.
Yeah.
That Cat dunk was so thunderous tonight. That was so fun. That probably was like the most important part of the game. Like everyone just probably just screamed, in the arena. But then he follows it up with what he does, which is he's just a hot air balloon out there. He's just a hot air balloon. He needs to be so much more than that. Well, I wish us the best, We're stuck with him. I don't think we're trading him. I don't think a lot of players, a lot of teams, a lot of coaches know how to use him. And we've gone through so many coaches trying.
Yep.
Another coach isn't going to do anything. It's going to only, shift the culture. And, well, something's got to give. It's
Mhm.
not going to be Finch. It's not going to be Towns.
Yeah.
So nothing's going to give.
Yeah.
That's my kind of outtake. And so I want to not think about him anymore for a while and start thinking and envisioning a team like building around Ant.
Yeah.
Maybe that includes Cat still, but with the idea that we're focusing around Ant. Speaking of Ant,
It just has to be Ant. And by the way, Godfrey, before we move on to Ant, I accept this trade immediately. But Anthony Edwards, 30 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 10 of 24 shooting. He had to take a couple heaves at the end, but realistically, it was still pretty close to that percentage. 4 of 10 from 3, 6 of 8 from the line, and 3 personal fouls, only 2 turnovers. Are you ready to grade Anthony Edwards?
yeah.
3, 2, 1,
Hey,
A.
yeah.
Yep. I, as much as I want to go A1, especially because, last game of the season, our backs are up against the wall. He comes to play, drops 30 as a 20-year-old in his first game 6. He's playing insane defense, getting to the line, hitting threes. He's doing it all, and he should have gotten a couple of other calls too. He was hammered multiple times where he's driving. And then obviously Jaw goes on the other end, flops on the ground and gets called. But, Ant's still a new player. He's still learning how to take contact, how to get contact. The fact that he's 20 is just mind-blowing. And he will be 21 of all of next season. So that is still something to be excited for. And obviously, like we were just talking about Cat, it's just time. It's time to move to Ant. Ant is our number 1. And I think, like we should have done the entire playoff series, is we need to live and die by Ant. That's how I want to play. That is fun to me. That, like you were kind of saying, when we have Ant out there, when we have Jaden and J-Mac, like we see what's happening and it's organic and fun. Whereas like the D-Lo stuff, it's like, no, yes. Towns a lot of time is no. And, there's just a lot of good vibes that come from a lot of the younger players that we have. And it just needs to be time. And I trust that will happen. I do think we're going to see a pretty significant shift into this being an Ant team versus a Towns team. But I guess that is something. It'll be a little interesting. I can't guarantee that, I guess, but I certainly hope that's the way it goes. Your thoughts on Ant?
He's always been there, man.
Mm-hmm.
This whole season, he's been who he is, and he's been unquestionably great.
Yeah.
There's been moments where he had his ankle and his knee kind of giving way for him, and he still came back and gave us whatever he could. Incredible, He's young. He needs to be healthy. He needs to be at his absolute best to give us his best.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see what an offseason does for him. Maybe getting health and fitness and kind of training like regimen that's like up to par with NBA standards for stars of these in the NBA, not just like what was given to you. His first half was sensational.
Yeah.
And I feel like Finch has quite a task ahead of how to trim the fat and trim the noise and trim the purpose and identity of players that were stars to give it to Ant.
Mm-hmm.
To say, you know what, the usage is not appropriate here or there or the other way or underwear. It needs to be with Ant and Ant only. But see, he can show us that he can take over the game. Not only can he show us, he's in a current NBA state, like of body, of player, of status, and he's being compared to the greats of our current generation and our older former generation, and he's living up to it. We're going to stymie his growth by feeding and force feeding growth from Cat in year 8.
Yeah.
And potential chucking from D-Lo. Every ounce of that is going to be stunting his growth.
Mm-hmm.
So moving forward with Ant at the helm and with maybe some D'Lo, maybe some Cat. I don't fucking give a shit.
Yeah.
It has to run 100% through Ant, and it gets me so jazzed.
Yeah.
Because no one can fucking stop him. They have to double team him, and then holy fuck, D'Lo's open. Take that fucking three. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, no pump fakes.
He doesn't have to pump fake.
Yeah.
My favorite play of D'Lo, my favorite play of D'Lo was when he was given a hot potato and he like just shot it like in rhythm, but he took no time to think.
Yeah.
And it went in and it was great and it was like procedural. When Cat had that ATO, all we had to do was give him the ball, he had a shot. That was the best play of his series.
Yeah.
All he had to do was take a mindless, dumbless shot, and he made it. Ant has the characteristics of a leader, has proven that he can be one of the best defenders of our team, but maybe, in his role and position moving forward, we could talk about it NBA-wise. He's giving it his all, and he's not backing down.
Yeah.
And he's also shown he's clutch.
Yeah.
So we don't need veins of ice. We need Anfax, my friend.
Yeah. Man, I really need Dave to stop. I was lucky enough to go to all the games this year, but it's very possible that when next season starts, I might be in Seattle with Ashwin, and we might be doing the show in the same place. Who knows?
Yeah.
But we'll be at B-Dubs. We'll be renting out a B-Dubs. No. So I don't want to hear Anfax. I think I need him to get all of those out of his system right now so that we can enjoy our lives again.
This entire season, first of all, fuck yeah. But this entire season, we've never seen all three of them together play well.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've seen Cat and Ant. We've seen D'Lo and Ant. We've never actually seen D'Lo and Cat together play well.
Mm-hmm.
The constant has been Ant.
Yeah.
For sure, man. For sure.
Yep. Yeah, you could I'm sure that there will be some people out there that throw in the couple games where he had like less than 10 points or something like that. But a lot, I know it sounds like we're just Ant homers, but like the games where most of the games where it didn't go off scoring wise, he was either playing a crucial role on defense or he was being a facilitator. So it wasn't like, oh, he had a bad game and was totally terrible. That never happens, So, I'm just super excited. I almost could care less about the rest of the team. I just want Ant right now. I believe in Ant. And, maybe it's not so much the fact that I believe in him, but more of like he is our best shot at success going forward. It's certainly not Towns. It's certainly not D'Lo. It needs to be Ant at the helm. Because if it's anybody else, then it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So it needs to be him, and maybe it'll happen. But I did kind of want to share one thing. I've got Basketball Reference pulled up here. So we can kind of take a look here at our players that we currently have. Let me see if I can zoom in. Oh, there's an ad right in front of it. Never mind. But as we can see here, so we've got Taurean Prince expiring. He was getting paid $15 million. I certainly do not expect that kind of a contract for him next year. And if it is, oh boy. Okogie, Layman, both gone potentially. We'll see what happens. Naz Reid he just doesn't have a guaranteed contract, or like it's a contract, but it's not fully guaranteed. We have J-Mac, Greg Monroe is $55,000. And then we got to figure out Nathan Knight and McKinley Wright. We won't really have cap space next year. I believe the cap is at 122, I think. Somewhere around there.
I don't know.
But basically, next year is really the put up or shut up. This is why I think we're going to come back with a pretty similar team, because, we're going to have to come in and be like, okay, is this the team that we're running with? And go from there, because we've got
it is D'Lo's top heavy galore.
Yeah, exactly. D'Lo's expiring. Malik Beasley's basically on expiring because his next year is a team option.
Yep.
Pat Bev on his last year. Vando on an easy contract, Monroe, all these players don't make that much. But these, it's basically where we find out. So
look at that, man. That gap is so stupid.
It's pretty crazy.
It's pretty crazy. It's also created a lot of parity in the league. And so, I want to say I'm excited for the rest of the playoffs. I might not be watching as much. I really am kind of out now. I was rooting for Toronto. I was rooting for Chicago. I was rooting for us, of course. Now I just want to play it like chalk. I want the regular season. I want the playoffs to be exactly what it is. I don't want anyone to get their trophies who don't deserve it. I don't think Phoenix deserves it. I don't think Golden State needs it. Fuck Memphis forever, because all the calls they get. But it's been a really fun, entertaining, kind of uplifting season for Timberwolves, where I was almost out.
Yeah.
Not as a fan, but just why do I spend all this time on basketball? What have they given me back? But sport is everything, man. Competition gets me so riled up, and I love competition. I love when teams give it their best. When I don't know what their best is, it gets really weird, right?
Yeah.
So I really want to understand what this team is going to be moving forward. I think Finch has a tall order, and I'm excited to see what happens with Coach and Gupta, sharing, several beers and missed phone calls, just figuring things out.
Yeah.
Because for once I'm kind of understanding a vision of the future, and I don't want to fuck it up this time because this will probably be my last time.
Yeah. Yeah. It has to be at least a normal, successful, obviously you could say championship, but it really just needs to be we have to have a team that is capable of making it there, and I do think we're on the right track for that. Obviously we're not there yet, but we've got somewhat of a game plan, like you said. Ant is there, super young. Jaden, super young. It's and as you saw, as I just showed on the basketball reference, after next year, things are very different in the contract realm and everything. So that's next year is a big year for the Timberwolves, and we should have high expectations going into next year. Like I said, though, we're going to have some videos come out later. We haven't talked about it yet. We have no idea what our schedules are looking like, anything, how much basketball we're even going to be watching. But we will be having some content this offseason here on this YouTube channel. So if you're new here, subscribe, like the video, all that stuff.
But we're about to get a lot less frequent.
But we are about to get a lot less frequent.
Yeah.
So it was fun doing these with you. I enjoyed hanging out. This
are you
is
getting choked up?
No, I've got allergies. I've got allergies. So
same here, man. Same here.
Yeah. No, but it's been fun. This has been nice to do. Well, you and I have not been able to hang out IRL. So this is kind of our way to do it. And obviously we appreciate everybody in chat for joining us. Obviously we've met so many cool people. I mean, we got Gerald, we got Godfrey, we got JJ, we got JBX, we got we got everybody. There's so many people that we interact with in the Discord, in the chat here. It's really fun. So this is something I just randomly thought of, and it's ridiculous, okay? Because there's just so many what ifs that could happen in between. But just for a fun thing where we could come back and maybe have some either crazy good foresight into the future, what are your quick lightning round-esque expectations, maybe record-wise, maybe standings-wise, for the Timberwolves going into next season?
Oh, fuck. I think 45 wins is the bare minimum. Okay. We have to be over 500. We have to be in the play-in for contention, or just to be at where we are. I think 50 wins is not off the table, but I think as currently constructed and as how we're probably going to look at the offseason, 50 wins might be our season. This is going to take a lot out of Ant and Jaden and others to build from what we learned from them. and give it more of an effort and see how, significant maturity is actually. As it's a skill. It's weird to say that, but it's a skill, Cat. My really quick lightning round predictions, where I'm kind of stalling. I think 50 wins.
Okay. Yeah. I agree. I think the number that kind of popped into my head was 51. I think that is pretty. I guess if I had to give a range, I guess I'm stalling too, but I would say somewhere between 48 and 52 would be kind of my guess as to where we are. I was pretty low on us coming into the season. I was thinking we were going to be 500 team, and we were 46. We were 10 games above 500. So that's incredible. And really, we started the season, like I said earlier in the show, like we started last season awful. Defense was good, but then we went 4-9. And it took a while to get back to 500. So it took multiple 5-game runs, to stay relevant in the beginning of the season. Yeah. But the way we finished off the last half of the season was good. It was a good team. And I'd love to see what a full season of that looks like, and maybe even better. So I'll go ahead and say 51 wins. Gerald says 52, of course. And the one thing that's too hard to know, because you've got these teams like the Lakers out there, where it's going to be Godfrey says 43 wins. Okay, Godfrey. But
could happen.
I mean, you're certain that's certainly a possibility. Yeah, you have got teams like the Lakers who could change literally everything other than LeBron, or even LeBron. There's all these different things that could happen with a team like the Lakers, the Clippers, health-wise. There's so many what ifs. The crazy thing is that we could be better next season and still be in the play-in. So
that might happen. That's probably going to happen. I'm looking at the West, saying we're going to be looking up at the West for a lot of it. So
yeah, I think so too. But well, I think that's it for the last post game of the year. Did you have any final thoughts before we parted ways?
No, just thanks for being with us throughout this entire experience. It was fun. Way more fun than last year. Way more fun than thinking about doing this years prior. And when I had a podcast, it was more of an NBA show, not just a Timberwolves show. It was the most stressful time when we had the Jimmy Butler years. And I don't know why I did it, but I continued going on because it was fun to try. And so we're trying, and maybe we're going to try some new things next year. And who knows what we're going to actually end up doing. But it's been really fun, Cameron, man. I can't believe that we're doing this again. And it's been a really cool experience.
It has been fun. Well, cool. I think that's pretty much it. Timberwolves lose Game 6 against the Memphis Grizzlies. And we move into off-season conversations. Like I said, subscribe if you want to see more. I'm sure everybody that's here right now is already subscribed, so I appreciate all you. But if you're not subscribed, or if you're watching the VOD, we will have some more content coming out later this year. I've got a bunch of ideas. I don't have any specific ones, but we for sure want to do an end of season tier list at some point. And then, I think that's it. But keep us in the loop, or what am I trying to say? Follow us on social media.
Join our Discord.
TikTok, Discord is the main one. And I guess we'll see you in the off season. Intro is the outro.
GG, well played, Wolves.
Seriously, well played. And 52 wins. We'll see you next year.